Most agents contact a lead 3 times and then quit. I have 56 touch points a year, and it's the reason I wrote $4.8 million in commission. Here's the exact calling and texting system, including iPhone shortcuts, I used to do in half the time. The one thing to remember in real estate is that people only remember 1 or 2 agents in their mind at a time. So as a real estate agent, we need to be that number 1 or number 2, because there's actually hundreds of agents that a person can remember. So the goal is to saturate their mind with yourself. You can do this either through texting, calling, emailing, letterbox drops. But if you're not the most saturated agent in that consumer's mind, when they decide to sell, they're not going to select you. So if we look at the stats, 3.7% of people are going to sell in the next 12 months based on our suburb. Then the next 3.7 are going to sell in the next 12 months and 3.7 the next 12 months. So over the next 3 years, there's going to be 10% of those people are going to sell their property definitely. So our job is to build a relationship with those 10% people and make sure that we are the first person to call, or at least plan B, because then we can be in front when they are ready to sell. And we do this through touch point frequency. The more times they see our face and see our text message and see our call, the more likely they are willing to work with us as agents. So in terms of the overall strategy, we are going to have a few different types of calling. At least we want to speak to all of our clients at least 4 times through the year. So 3 months is the maximum we want to leave until we've spoken to them. Then text messaging. We want to be texting all of our clients 1 time a week, or maybe 1 time every 2 weeks if they have no interest at selling. And the reason we do that is text messaging is read 97% of the time within 30 minutes. That's such a key valuable thing, is that you can call 100 people and you only speak to maybe 50 of them because they answer. But text messaging, I can send 1,000 text messages today and I know 97% of them are going to see that text message in the next 30 minutes. For new team members that are thinking, how do we call people and what do we do? There's a few basic strategies that we want to go over in terms of the lead management and also calling through the database. So the first thing that we can have is you can have a long database of, let's say you've got 1,000 contacts. Now we really want to move through all those contacts and identify if they have any plans to sell in the future. And we don't want to have long, lengthy conversations if they have no plans. We really want to keep it short, sharp, and consistent so that we can actually see if they're going to sell or not, and then we can put them into our follow-up system. So there are a few strategies that we focus on when calling clients. Like when we're on the call, we want to keep the calls 2 minutes or less. We want to smile, be energetic, and deliver the just listed, just sold, or I have a buy in the area, and see if they have any interest at any time in the future. So a very basic dialogue is we say, do you own locally? Do you have any plans to sell in the future at any time? We really want to put any time on the script, because if it's any time, we actually forecast the next 3 years in the consumer's mind, and we can use that lead and then follow up with them until they are ready to sell. Because if you think about it, only 1% of people are going to sell their property in the next 3 months. So if you speak to 100 people, only 1 is going to say, yep, I'm going to sell in the next 3 months. And maybe they've already chosen an agent. But 1 in 10 are going to sell in the next 3 years. And that's the power, is we want to capture those 1 out of 10 people, build a relationship, keep texting, keep calling them, and keep in touch with their plans until they are ready to sell. Because in the next 3 years or next 2 years, when that person decides to sell, you've created a relationship with them and you've created the opportunity to sell their property. In another video, I'll go over some basic call scripts, but the summary of calling is that we want to provide value to the consumer and create a quick touch point. So you can have a recent sales script where you say, hey John, it's Lawrence from Limitless Real Estate. I hope you're doing well. The reason for the call, we sold 35 Smith Street, round the corner, 35 buyers missed out, and they're looking in your area. Just checking, at the right price, would you consider selling? Or you can say, would you like us to introduce any of these buyers? They're looking to buy in your street, looking for a property just like yours. So I'm trying to sell them on the opportunity and the lead magnet of getting sold immediately off market to one of our buyers, because then they've got that hook. If they've got no interest at selling at that point, then it's just checking to see what their plans are. Do you have any plans at selling at any time in the future? And we're trying to determine what is their situation. Are they planning to upsize, downsize, relocate? Are they getting older to an old age home? Someone might pass away. So there needs to be a strong motivation for someone to move. They'll never be like, oh, we just decided to sell and move. Like, people don't just decide to sell. There needs to be that strong motivation to be able to almost force them to sell. And often it is a negative situation. Maybe there's pain, the house is too small, they have to upsize. Maybe it's pain, it's too big house and they need to downsize, or the mortgage is too high. Or it's pain, they don't like the area, they want to move overseas. overseas to another country, or there's pain because they're driving too far for work, or there is pleasure, like they've made enough money and they want to upsize to a new, better location, and they have the pain of not liking this current location. So it's always that pain that often drives a consumer to want to make the move, and we need to dig in to find that motivation, and that's how we're going to see if they're going to be a potential seller. So when I talk to a consumer, I needed to find out, when am I going to follow up with them? Because often people do not convert on the first call. They might not convert on the second or third or fourth. They might convert on the 8th or 9th or 10th, 11th, 12th call, because we want to determine their motivation and then keep in touch based on their motivation. If they're going to move to the school zone, our next call might be talking about, how's your plan to the school zone? How's it going? Have you seen any properties you like in the area? Maybe we send them some options in the area just to show them examples of where they could move to, because now we actually providing them value based on their personal situation. Cool. So let's say we've called through a lot of our clients and we've called 1,000 contacts. Now we need to follow them up in a certain way. Now there's a few basic, easy ways to follow someone up. You can either follow them up on a CRM system and you type in the notes in the CRM and you make some detailed notes, and you might have an app, you might have a spreadsheet on Excel. Alexander Phillips writes $20 million in a year and he has it on Outlook calendar. He just got his Outlook CRM and it has a follow-up date and some notes placed. So it doesn't need to be too complicated. I want the most simple CRM possible. So there's one way. Any hot client, I would just add as a calendar invite to myself at 8 a.m. and it's super basic. I say the address, the homeowner's name, and I also have got their phone number often, and I can click the phone number from Google Calendar and I can give them a call. Now, once I've given them a call in my iPhone system, they would have certain notes that would be in the iPhone. On the iPhone, I did some basic notes. Once I've spoken to the client, I might talk about their motivation, where they're moving to, have they renovated, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, what's their time frame, what's their CV, what's their dream price, are they decision makers when we meet them up, what's their debt, and any other information about their property. So this I'd write if they are showing strong interest in wanting to sell their property, because now I've got more detailed notes attached to either my iPhone notes or I've got it on my CRM. So these more detailed notes are very specific if they are going to definitely sell. If they've just got some interest in selling, maybe in the medium term, then I want to add them to my calendar, and then I'm just going to remove that calendar every time I speak to them on that day. I'll move the calendar maybe 1, 2, 3 months. Maximum would be 3 months. So I've got that warm loop of cycling of keeping in touch with these people. So that's step one. The other option, you can use a reminders tab. So if we go onto our reminders tab on our iPhone, another place you can just type the person's name, the address, and their phone number onto reminders, and we can basically just call someone through the reminders tab, and then you can always change it to a different date. So it's another way to follow someone up once they have strong interest or wanting to sell. So those are the two basic ways that we use to follow up our potential sellers to keep in touch with them. The last way that we like to manage our warm leads is to use emojis. Now the emojis are so powerful, because if I go into my iPhone contacts and I just type in all the money bags, I click one money bag, I can get all my potential sellers. So the money bag is just showing that there's potential money to be made from that contact. So if I go onto these and I've got their name, I've got the money bag, and if I want to get all my money bags, I just press one button and all the money bags come up, and I can, when I'm driving in the car, when I'm in between appointments, or I just need to call through any of the warm leads, I've got them all available on my iPhone immediately. And the good thing is that it's quick. You press one money bag, you've got all your contacts immediately there, and now I can call them immediately, and I can click the contact, call, in the call, next one, click call, and then I've got all the notes on the consumer on my iPhone. So it's super easy. My CRM is my iPhone contacts with the notes in the contact, and I've got the money bags right there. So that's just the most simple way. I want the least amount of clicks and the easiest time just to click and call, and then I've got all these people available. I do put a red top across if I've missed out the lead. There's other ways that we can categorize contacts, like you can put a hammer if they're a developer, you can put a hammer and another tool if they're a property investor. You can put 3 money bags for a hot lead, you can put 2 money bags for a medium lead, and 1 money bag for a cooler lead. So all of these different ways of emojis is a very nice color coordinated way to see if someone is a potential seller. So then moving on to, how do we nurture them 56 times? Well, firstly, the 4 touch points will be the phone calls. At minimum, all of these people need to get at least 4 phone calls throughout the whole year. And these 4 phone calls is just a touch point. As soon as they are interested in wanting wanting to sell or showing keen interest, I might move that 3 months down to 1 month, maybe even 1 week, or even 1 day, all depending on how warm they are as a lead. Now, the important thing to remember is if someone says, give me a call in 3 months time, I'm going to sell, you call them in 1 month or even 1.5 months, because if they say 3 months, they probably by that 3 month, they're going to be on the market with another agent. So you always want to call them as soon as possible to keep in touch with them, and always half the time. If they say call me in 1 month, you call them in 2 weeks time to keep in touch, because things always change in their life a lot faster than they think. Next is moving on to the group text system. Next is moving on to group text. So there is an app called Group Text, and now this Group Text app is so valuable because you only pay $70 for the whole year, and you've got the ability to click one button and it takes out 100 or 200 people at one point. And this is so valuable. So what we can do, we can have different groups. You can either have groups based on potential seller in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. That's one way. Or you can have the groups by different suburbs. So I've put the groups in different suburbs here. As you can see, I've got, say, I've got Papatoetoe suburb, 63 people. I've got this suburb, 60, 70 people over there. So all of these different suburbs are really important because now I can text them recent sales in that suburb that are highly relevant to that client. And there's a few settings we need to make sure that are set up correctly on the group text. Make sure that the default sending mode is on automatic. So automatic sending mode, delay of 3 seconds, so that if we delay it 3 seconds, it doesn't clog up your phone. And we can always import groups. So if you click import groups, let's go on to groups. What we can do is you can actually export all of your contacts on your whole database, and then you can add them to this group text app. So I would recommend every person in your database, if you've got 5,000 people, you export them in groups of 200 people, and we can just click plus on the top right and a new group, and we can do test group, and we can click import contacts as a CSV. So when you import as a CSV, you'll be able to upload basically an Excel document, and it will just load all the contacts at once. If you want the CSV format, you can click on the format or style of the CSV, click save, and I'll just show you what it looks like over here. Open in downloads. I show you an example of what the CSV format must look like. So if we go, you must have the first name. I put the full name of the client all in one contact over here. So you got first name, we've got the last name over here, and then you've also got the phone number. So I won't share any of this, but 3 columns: first name, last name, phone number. In the last name, I would put the address of the property, and then in the last column, I've got the phone number. So it's just 3 columns. If you need a way to format these columns, you just upload it into Claude or ChatGPT, and you say, I want a CSV document where the first column needs to be the full name of the client, the second column needs to be the address, and the third column the phone number. And then the AI robot will basically set up that whole CSV in the correct format, and you can say in groups of 200. So then you've got these separate files that you upload to your iPhone, and then you can upload these groups into the group text app. If you want the Android version, you have to go to an app called Hit 'em Up. So Hit 'em Up is on Android, and it's a similar type of format in terms of blast texting people. So with these group text, so we can create these groups over here, and then you can type out a text message. Now, what is the text message supposed to look like? Now, I'll give you a few examples of what we do. So there's a few different ways that we can do the text messaging. This is one example of a text message. So we've got, we'll say recent property we've sold over expectations, 64 Puni Road sold $75,000 over the highest offer. We've got, would you like an update on your home? So a good strong call to action. Another property over here, we say record auction sale result. We've got sold over reserve, respond yes for a free update on your property, unsubscribe, stop. We've got another example text message over here. So I'm always trying to provide recent sales. Maybe we sold 8 at auction this week. Maybe our company sold this many at auction. So really trying to think about how can you demonstrate that the market's good and busy. You can even include a video of an auction result. Let's say you've sold a property, you've done an auction video, you send the video. Maybe a video testimonial. Maybe you've got the last 10 vendors with their phone numbers, you can add in a text message. It's important to have a short, sharp text message with your name and your company and unsubscribe, stop. So by having this, it's very good to nurture the clients. So every single week, you're going to send out text messages to all the warmer clients. They're going to get a text message at least every week. And maybe the cold clients, you'll text them every 2 weeks. So your whole database of 5,000 people or 2,000 are going to get a more generic text message. And I don't say hi, I can say hi or hello, but I don't add their name into the text. I just keep it very generic with a call to action. So the powerful thing with this is that they are going to get 52 text messages. If they're a warm seller, they get 52 text messages in the full year. And then when you call them every 3 months, they're going to receive it. Oh, wow, thank you for sending those text messages. It's amazing. You've been providing so much value. There are going to be 5 to 10% people that say, take me off your text message system. I don't want to be texted anymore, and stop it. So you just take them off and you don't text them again. So don't worry about those people. It's good if you get complaints, because then you're at least touching base with people more often. The last thing is the text shortcut system. Now, the text shortcut on iPhone is called text replacement. Now, you can go on your iPhone and you can type in any few characters, and then you can say, whenever I type these characters, it replaces to a new character. I've got probably over 500 different text replacement strategies. So if we just show you an example over here. Now, if someone misses a call and I want them to call them back, I just type in call B. So when I type in call B and I press space, it would say, hi, when you have a moment, could you please give me a call back? Thank you, Lawrence, Kenyon-Slade, Limitless Real Estate, with my number. Now I haven't had to type that. I've just typed call B and it sends. If I want to say, send me, let's say I've spoken to someone, I want them to send their first name, last name, email. I'll just go send me, and it's going to say, hi, could you please send me your first name, last name, email? Thank you, regards, Lawrence, Kenyon-Slade. Next thing, if I need to type a property address, let's see, I'll type in the number. Let's say if it's 10 Holden, I'll type 10H, and it'll type out 10 Holden Place, Monaco, and type out that full property address. The next thing is maybe a UP1. Let's say I haven't spoken to the person, I'll just type UP1, text it quick. Hope you're well, just thought I'd keep in touch since the last catch up. How are your plans progressing? There's some strong buyer activity in the area. In regards, Lawrence, Kenyon-Slade. So it's just a short basic text. After the call, I can just send UP1 and there's a text message sent to them. Right, so if you want to learn how to do text replacements, you can go on iPhone and go text replacement over here. And these are all of the text. I've got heaps of text replacements over here. Call B, I've got my office location. Can you call me back? If I meet someone at the door, I've got a door 1, so I send them door 1 and it's a door knocking introduction. I've got a rate my agent, so I go RMA. Here's my rate my agent profile. So anything that you're typing too much and you want a set template, you just create these text shortcuts and it'll save you a huge amount of time during your calls and your follow-ups through your prospecting. If you guys are wanting a more deep dive on how I went from $200K to $1.8 million, click this next video below and I'll see you at the next one.